Hey everybody, it's Nathaniel Avila reporting from Greater Orlando, and I'm here with Timbrel Hildebrand reporting from Crowley, Texas. And we're going to be talking about the Swiss Family Robinson. Hooray!
Well,
Yeah. So what did you think of the film?
it was interesting. It was very interesting.
Have you seen this film before?
I am not. I have never seen this movie before.
Well, how was it like the first time viewing it?
It. I was blown away particularly by just how real everything was, and I have a lot of respect for this movie just because of what an undertaking it must have been to make it.
Oh yeah. There is actually, I think there's a BTS documentary on YouTube called "The Making of the Swiss Family Robinson." You should probably check it out. It's pretty interesting and about how they made everything and all that, how they handled all the animals too.
Yeah, I was curious about that.
Yeah, and like probably if they made this today, they would be like, we'll just CGI all the animals. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But in this one, they're like, we have a tiger and it's gonna attack you and everything, and then we have a snake that you're gonna wrestle. Um, and
Yeah.
I know that Walt Disney, the guy, he really wanted there to be a tiger, so that was his thing. And he said, it could be as expensive as you want. Money's no object. So that's really cool.
Wow.
So some background about this film is that it is based on a novel called The Swiss Family Robinson. It's the same title, written by a guy named Johann David Weiss. And RKO had previously made an adaptation in 1940. That's like the second one that's on Disney Plus. That was made by a guy named Edward Ludwig. So after watching the movie, Walt Disney, the guy, and another guy named Bill Anderson decided to produce their own version of the story. So Anderson talked with this other guy named Ken Annakin while he was making another film called The Third Man on the Mountain in Switzerland, and so he convinced him to take part in the to direct the film. But the only thing is that Anakin read the book and he was like wondering why Disney wanted to make a story that's so outdated. And then, but I was like, have you met Disney? All of the stories were quote unquote outdated. Am I right?
I mean, I guess in that it didn't take place in modern day.
Yeah, I mean, they're all really old stories.
Yeah.
So, so after that, there were several minis. Like one of the biggest things was deciding where to film the film, like the location. They first wanted to just do it in the studio in Burbank, or film it on location. Uh, Anakin, the director, he really wanted to film it in Sri Lanka, but the associate producer, Basil Keyes, wanted it to be done in Eastern Africa. But Bill Anderson, the producer, he really wanted it to be in the Caribbean. So they visited Jamaica and then they visited Trinidad. Uh, but none of them is what they wanted. So somebody in Trinidad told them about another island right next to it called Tobago, which they went in there and they were like, really, they really liked the location and everything they needed. So they sent a telegram to Anderson, who went to Tobago, and it fitted all their needs. However, only the only thing bad was that the island had no wildlife, so they had to bring all the animals from outside to there. So, and then the rest is history. They made it, and that's that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the family?
The family, I think they were fairly interesting. I remember reading an abridged version of the book a really long time ago when I was a kid. So I didn't really remember the story super well, but I thought the family was fairly enjoyable. I enjoyed particularly the dynamic between the two older boys. I liked that sort of brotherly love kind of thing. That was interesting. The mom and the dad were pretty cool. You have those two conflicting viewpoints. Mom wants to go home, dad's okay with staying, and you got the little kid who's kind of there for comic relief. So I mean, it's a fairly cool ensemble cast in regard to the family. That is.
Yeah, like the film starts off with them in the shipwreck, and then they just just like, goof around the island for a bit, catching animals like their Pokemon, and building the treehouse, and that's basically it. And so what did you think about like this love triangle subplot between the two older brothers and Roberta?
I mean, it's understandable. You know, they've been stuck in an island for months, and there haven't been anybody else but their families. So, you know, the first girl in sight, they're bound to fight over her
Yeah.
because, I mean, what else is there to do?
Oh, that's very true. And I remember that was one of the concerns that the mom had, that was like, oh, there's no women here that they could marry and have a family with or something. And
Yeah.
so so you said that you thought the older brother was gonna get the girl. What's his name? Ernst, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Ernst.
Or
No,
was
wait, or was that the other one?
I think Ernst was the youngest one.
Yeah, Ernst was the young one. What was the older one's name? Fritz?
Fritz and
Yeah.
Francis. So I think Fritz is the
Yeah.
oldest.
Yeah, Fritz, it was Fritz and Ernst.
Okay. So you thought Fritz was the one that was gonna end up with Roberta?
Well, I mean, yeah, you just had to look at the two actors, and you knew that he was going to be the one who got the girl. He's more muscular, and I mean, he's more muscular and handsome and older and that sort of thing. Like he looked more like the man and less like the boy. So, I mean, based on the time period that this movie came out, and you know, it was fairly obvious to me that if she was going to end up with either of them, it was going to end up with him.
Yeah. So when they first met him, she was pretending to be a boy, and even though it was very obvious that she was a girl, but they were like, "Up, oh, you're a guy." So, what did you think about that whole period?
I mean, I'll be honest, it did take me. I wasn't quite sure that she was a girl at first. I mean, I noticed that I remember it crossed my mind when I first saw her tied up with the captain. I was like, oh, that'd be cool if that was a girl, or is that a girl? Like, I couldn't tell because, um, sometimes younger boys, they can be a little pretty in the face. So I was like, it might be a guy. I'm really not sure. So it took me a while, but once they like started traveling with her, and like once they freed her, and I kind of saw how her clothes were real bulky and stuff. Like I could tell that she was a girl. So then it just became a matter of just kind of sitting there because they made it very obvious how they were making the joke of like, oh, remember how we wanted a girl? We got close to one because they were making fun of him because he wasn't, or she because she wasn't running fast enough or whatever. So I mean, it was pretty obvious. So it was kind of like they were just beating the dead horse until finally they revealed that she was a girl.
Yeah. And how did you think about that scene where they actually did reveal that she was a girl, where they were trying to cross the ravine, and they're like, "Ah, let's take our shirts off."
Again, I mean, like it was kind of the stereotypical thing that you would expect in a movie. It's that how they reveal that it's a girl or something like, oh, we have to take our clothes off, and the girl's like, oh, heck no, you know. So, I mean, it was your regular thing, but it was an interesting, I guess, reveal, I suppose.
Yeah. My only like thought was like, why didn't she just say that, "Hey guys, I'm not a guy. I am a girl, and I don't feel comfortable taking off my clothes."
Well, I mean, from a female perspective, if I had just met two dudes that I didn't know, regardless of the fact that they just like rescued me from the pirates, I'd probably be more inclined to pretend I was a guy for the same reason that she was pretending to be a guy to avoid the pirates from knowing and like, you know, raping her or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
I would have done the same. From a woman's standpoint, I would say I would have done the same thing. I would have just gone with the ruse.
Yeah, that's probably yeah, that was probably a great idea, because yeah, you never know, especially
Yeah,
with
I mean,
these.
like just cause they rescued me from the pirates doesn't mean necessarily they're good dudes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so after that, it basically became those two just hanging around and doing stuff. Oh, that brings me to the pirates. What did you think of the pirates?
I mean, they will definitely wouldn't be depicted that way today. I guess
Yeah,
is the best way to say it. It was a little culturally. I mean, it's not surprising given the time period, but yeah, it was pretty. I guess the best word is caricaturized. I don't
yeah,
know why they decided to make the pirates a different nationality, because, I mean, usually when you think of pirates, you think of, like, hackneyed British people. You don't usually think of, you know, I guess they were supposed to be from Asia or something. I
Yeah.
wasn't really sure. There were a bunch of different people there.
Yeah, and I think it was because they were supposed to have crashed in Indonesia because they were going to Papua New
Ah,
Guinea from Switzerland, and Papua New Guinea, I believe, is in Oceania, or like in the like
oh, I
off the
see.
coast of Australia. So
Yeah,
I'm
but here's the thing. I don't remember much about the book, but I remember pretty well that there weren't any pirates in the book. I don't think that was part of the book.
okay. I'll take your word for it. Really, because so you think that
But I
was
could be wrong. I could be wrong. That was an abridged version. I read it a long time ago, but I do not remember there being pirates involved. I remember it just being about them surviving off the land. I don't remember there being a girl either. Like, I'm pretty sure they made up a lot of that.
so they did take some liberties, some creative
But again,
licensing.
it's been a while since I've read it, so I could be wrong.
Okay. I remember in the BTS documentary, they said that the actor who played Koala, who was the pirate captain, his name was Sasui Hayakawa, who's always Japanese. When he came there, he actually came in with two women whose job was just to fan him in between takes, like with a fan, and
Wow.
and I remember all the other crew members were like, "Wow, I wish we could get to the point where we could have just two ladies just fanning us in between takes." So, as a filmmaker yourself, would you ever go out and have like a 3 4 month shooting like a production in a tropical island like Tobago?
I mean, I'd have to really, really like the story and really want it to be made to do something like that, because I've got great respect for what they did. Like, that looked really, really difficult. But I mean, I don't know if I'd have it in me to deal with something like to do something like that. Even if you have like a massive crew and stuff like that, I'd have to really like the story to do
Okay.
something like that.
What if they would be like, "Hey, Timbrel, we'll give you a couple majillion dollars, like a couple $1 million. That's
That
your
might do
salary."
it.
Okay. Because they said that it was very like the weather would change constantly. It would be go like storm, like very like hard storms, to like also like a bunch of like mosquitoes and creepy crawlies going into your beds and stuff.
Yeah, I'd have to really care about the story if I was gonna go to that kind of length to make it.
Okay. What if like somebody called you up and say, "Hey, we're remaking Swiss Family Robinson and we want you on the crew and we're filming in the tropical island." What would you say?
Uh, sure. Since this is hypothetical, why not?
Okay. So you would do it if it was still if it was this story.
It would depend. I'd have to reread the story before I committed to something like that.
Okay. Like I know that I think Netflix made a TV show based on this story, but it's a sci-fi version called Lost
You
in
mean Lost
Space.
in Space?
Yeah, Lost in Space.
That's based off of an old '60s TV show.
Ah, snap! That I was wrong. I think it's because their
Yeah,
name. I think it's because their name was Robinson too.
I mean,
It's-
that the original TV show might have been based off of that, but no, that Netflix didn't come up with that.
Okay. All right. Well, I stand corrected. So that's great. Um. The animals. What did you think about like the animals and stuff?
Honestly, like, it made me nervous just watching because it was just so real, and like most of the time they'll use clever cutting techniques to. And what especially impressed me was how they cut together certain scenes between the actors, because usually when they do stuff like that, it's really obvious that they're not in the same area. And in this particular movie, I felt like they hid that a little bit better. Like, I felt more. I guess I felt more in tune with the fantasy because it looked like they were really there, even though they were cutting in between shots. It's like, okay, well, the kid wasn't actually with the elephant, but though sometimes they were really with the elephant. But yeah, I was really impressed impressed because sometimes, like, I would think, oh, well, now they're going to cut away so that they don't actually have to show the actors with the animal. And then the actor would go right up and touch the animal. I'm like, oh, well, I guess not. So I was really impressed. I do not think this sort of filmmaking would be done today just because there are more rules regarding animal safety and stuff. And, I mean, they were getting pretty rough with those animals. But it was still very impressive. That aside, like, it was just impressive they were able to have the animals right there on set with the actors, like, actually doing everything.
Oh yeah, they would definitely would have done it today because especially with minors. And so
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
yeah, and I remember they were saying like one of the scariest instances that they did was the scene where the two dogs were attacking the tiger.
Yeah, like that was like, what the heck? How did they do that? That blew my mind.
Yeah, I think what they did was I think they had to seal the tiger's mouth shut, like with a rope or some kind of muzzle, and they just had the dogs just attack it. But they were like praying to God, say hoping that the dogs didn't really seriously hurt the tiger, and which
Yeah,
would
because those are big dogs.
oh yeah oh yeah because like compared to the tiger they were pretty huge because they really stood their own.
Yeah.
And so like there was that scene, and then there was this other scene where they said that the animal, the scariest animal that they had to deal with was the hyenas, and they said,
Ugh, they look scary.
"Oh yeah," because hyenas they're like pretty unpredictable stuff. And another one was the python, where
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wait, was that a real python
that
on him?
was
I thought that was like fake.
oh that was a real python.
Oh my word. Okay, I thought that like they were cutting in between and like using a fake one for him fighting it, and then a real one for other shots.
That's what I would thought too. But
Oh my word.
but Ken Annakin he wants realism in his movies, so so he,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Man, this could have easily been a really like tragic film story.
Oh yeah, there's like you could hear stories of other films about who that deal with like deadly animals that didn't work out as well. Uh, like there was this one film called Roar. If you haven't heard of it, you should definitely look it up. Uh, so uh, the snake that they had, it was like this anaconda that was like literally like all around the actor. Uh,
Yeah, that could have killed him. Oh my word.
Yeah, and so what the animal wrangler said, what they had to do is like if he ever felt that the anaconda was constricting him, all he had to do was like put his head in the water, and then it would like loosen its grip. So that's what he had to do. So and also he said that the good thing that it was done in the water because if it was done not on the water, the weight of the anaconda would have been too much, and he probably wouldn't have been able to do it.
Oh my goodness, but I think I saw them put the head of the anaconda under the water a couple times. That probably meant that they were like in imminent peril while they were shooting.
Yeah, exactly. And he would say that he would have like the snake's face like rat into his face, so he had to like grab onto it and stuff to make sure it
Oh my
doesn't
word.
like. So it was
Wasn't
really
much acting there, it seemed.
yeah. That's why yeah we need that's why we need realism. Realism is the key. So like, would you ever like want to be on a set like filled with all these animals and stuff?
Honestly, no. That sounds. I mean, like, I think it would be cool, but at the same time, if I was really going to say a preference, I wouldn't want to be around stuff like that. That's stressful.
Yeah, there is like this rule in show business about not working with kids or animals.
Oh,
Am I right?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I just heard it from somewhere. I think it was supposed to be like a joke thing, but I don't know. But
Uh,
but yeah, like in this day and age, like they would probably just CGI it and that'll be that. But I do commend them as well for using like practical effects and actual animals on the set.
yeah, I mean, I was really impressed, like, how they were, like, in that one scene when they were bringing all the animals over from the ship. Like, that stressed me out just thinking about how long that must have taken to get right.
Oh yeah. Like did you really want the dogs to come with them? Cuz I did.
Well, I mean, of can't help but want them to stay with the dogs.
Yeah, because I really love the dogs. Because I was like really rooting for them as they were paddling in their little doggy paddle across this
Yeah.
treacherous current. Um, so yeah, and like also another thing is the treehouse. What did you think about the treehouse?
I mean, that was incredible. That was some incredible set design. Hats off to all of the art department, all of the people who built that. That was incredible.
Yeah,
Up in the trees and all that.
yeah, and I think like what they did, I think they left it there. They left it there for like tourists and stuff to come and check it out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but unfortunately, a hurricane came in and destroyed it. So
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, let me see if I can. Hurricane Flora came in and destroyed it 3 years later.
Hmm.
Uh, but I believe there is like a recreation of it in the Magic Kingdom. Uh,
Oh, that's neat.
yeah, that we can go check it out if when this quarantine is over. Uh, so yeah, there's that, and then basically how it ends is everyone is happily ever after. The pirates are defeated. Uh, the Roberta decided to be with the oldest guy, Fritz, I believe it was. Uh,
Yeah, but
yeah, they decided to stay together. Uh, the middle child, Francis, is going to university, even though he had no prior education. So see how long that lasts in
well, he
London.
might have had prior education.
Oh, okay. Uh, so let's see. He's going to university in London, and the her grandfather is safe. He comes back, and the rest of the family stay in the treehouse in the island, and everyone lives happily ever after. And they start a new colony, and then the Mister Robinson is now the governor of that island. Hooray! The day is saved.
Hurrah.
So, is that a very like Disney and ending?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Disney's always been known for their happy endings, but I mean, I've never been a huge fan of unhappy endings, so I'm cool with that.
Me too. I prefer a happy ending than an unhappy ending. I like to feel good. I like feel good stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so there's also the character of the mother. What did you think about the mother?
I mean, I liked her. I felt like the story was centered a little bit more around the boys than her, but I mean, honestly, I was kind of like relating with the mother. They're making these big, dangerous tree houses, and they're wanting to put the kid up there. I mean, I'd be pretty nervous too. So I kind of related with her, feeling kind of worried about this whole thing.
Oh
So she's
yeah,
kind of the voice. She's kind of the voice of reason in the midst of everything else.
I would definitely agree with that. So that's like basically her role is to like keep everyone grounded. And I know that
Hmm.
like the father wants to be like we're gonna have this all this different stuff and it's gonna be all over, and she has to like reel him in and all that. Uh, oh, another thing about the interior shots of the treehouse, that was made in like in a makeshift studio, and so they were filming it, but they were filming it while it was raining outside, and so when they went back to Los Angeles to edit, all the audio was like heavily polluted with a bunch of like
Oh,
rain and stuff, so all the audio was un- unusable. So then they had to ADR everything afterwards.
well, that's not that uncommon back then when they shot outside. Usually, like those old school westerns that you'll watch, everything was overdubbed.
Oh, I remember I was watching what was it? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I would notice
Hmm.
like some scenes where they were like their mouths didn't match the words that they were saying. So I could definitely believe that.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your final thoughts on the Swiss Family Robinson?
I mean, I think it's good. It's a very impressive film. Personally, I didn't think it was a super fun film, but it's definitely an impressive film, and I think it's worth watching just to see kind of like the spectacle of just how big everything is.
Oh yeah, definitely watch it for like the production value, and like
Yeah,
how
for
the
sure.
and how like the animals were played in.
Yeah.
And then so what would you rate this film?
Uh, I'd give it. I'd give it a 7 out of 10, just because it's very well made.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So that's my
Cool.
rating. So that's it. That's everything. That's the Swiss Family Robinson for you. So we'll see you guys next time. I've been Nathaniel Avila. This has been Timbrel Hildebrand, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.